What up, House of Hebrews Nation, coming up? So, I wanted to come back. Isn't that a beautiful, beautiful new moon? It is beautiful. I wanted to come back and address the TikTok that I put up about SAT, OCT, the 7th of 23 last year. Now, I bring evidence, and this is for educational purposes only, and for anyone that is serving Gogs, which is Israel, cancel that name out in Yahuwah's name, on their Sabbath of FRI to SAT. Pay attention. When we woke up and Yah brought us out, he took us all the wrong places first. Then he brought us to the correct place, which was Genesis. And we were given this moon for our feast days, our months, and our years. It is plainly written. But I want to talk about Gog. We were taught that they were the holy people. So when we woke up, that's what we tried to follow. And it was wrong, because FRI and SAT is not the set Sabbath for Yahuwah. We go by this beautiful moon, like he said. So let's look at the evidence. First of all, almost 300 people viewed and looked at that, and not one person said what they saw in the comments. Though there were people that liked it because they understood exactly what Yahuwah was trying to show them. So Father told me today, because when I made that talk, he said, I want you to let it sit. And then this evening, he said, go look. So we're coming back with the second part, and I pinned it, and you'll recognize it. So let's talk about the evidence that was gotten off of Google. There's no disputing that that is evidence. And those are photos from that time and that day. I said, what do you see? I went in there and I investigated all the documents that they put out about that day. What happened? Talked to the witnesses. We're telling the camera, listen closely to what they said. And they all gathered out in a desert. They have this every year. It's a festival, a feast day for them. They gather out in the desert. They sit up idols, and they sit them on high places. Book of Jeremiah and Book of Isaiah. Book of Ezekiel. Book of Deuteronomy. They set them on high places. And then what were they doing in the photos? They were dancing below it. That is called idolatry and witchcraft. And there's a reason for it being in the desert. And for those of you that are taught by Yahuwah, we know exactly why they do it in a dry, desolate place. There are unclean things out there that attach. So let's talk about what were the idols. That was just one of them that I posted. In the documentary, they said they go out there, they all gather at sundown on FRI. On Yahuwah's Sabbath Eve, we know that we are to take care of everything that is to be on the table, the feast, cleaning house. We don't leave. We don't buy and sell. We do not travel. And they were in the desert on their Sabbath Eve, saying that they follow Yahuwah. I'm just saying, we're just stating facts that can't be disputed. They said they follow Old Testament laws. No, they don't. Or they would have been at home with their children. And the parents would have made sure they were at home. Because this is law in Deuteronomy. So they go out there, and she said they dance and they party, they drink, they mingle until the sun comes up in the morning. And then they dance before the sun. And they end the festival with that. That is sun worship. So that on the Sabbath eve, they broke all the laws that Yahuwah said. And then on the Sabbath of the sunrise, they danced before the sun. And that is how the festival ended. But not this time. I am telling you, Yah is not putting up with idolatry anymore, or bringing anything foul in on his Sabbath. His laws stand now, and if you don't understand that, we have a problem. The war in Gaza is never called off on the Sabbath eve or their Sabbath. So for those of you that are following it, you need to know that that right up there that I have been showing you is what our Father Yahuwah gave us Hebrews to set the Sabbaths by. And tonight is a high one for Yahuwah. This is the new moon. This is the Sabbath eve of Yahuwah. And he made that very clear with witnesses behind it to back it up. In fact, there would be 4 members from our tribe that would go out. We had to have 4 witnesses that, yes, it was a new moon. They would go back to our tribes and tell them it is a new moon, prepare. Go to Nehemiah. He was already about that Sabbath because he knew how important it was not to break it. Why is it important not to break Yahuwah's Sabbath and be on the right one if you serve him? Because he said, this is what sets my people apart from the world's and false religion Sabbaths. And I will write your name on my temple walls. And when this is over, I will give you much better names than sons and daughters, he said. I cannot even imagine that. I'm so proud to be his daughter. This is what we go by. And he made that very clear in Genesis when he created it. So for those of you, and yes, Father, yes, and he took us the same way. So here's your evidence that that does not belong to Yahuwah. They are the chosen of Edom, not the Elohim of Genesis, Yahuwah, who created the earth and the heavens and everything therein. You have to come completely away and let Yahuwah teach you. Now, when you listen to this, TikTok, I want you to remember that both of you asked me the question. You asked the question. Therefore, you cannot get upset about what the truth really is, because no matter what you do, it will still stand as the truth. No matter what you say to me, no matter what you try to do to hurt me, you are doing it to Yahuwah, because I'm just repeating him. And I'm his daughter, and he is vicious over me because I intend to do what he asked me to do for him. I will step over anyone to get to the mission and complete it for him. Failing is not an option for me because I adore him, and he has been hurt deeply. And this is a record before my Father Yahuwah as his daughter and his ambassador, prophetess, and judge, that I indeed answered both of your questions and brought you evidence of the matter. Shalom.